Hi guys, welcome to the next in a series of talking to wonderful, gorgeous women about our program and about semen retention and ejaculation control in general. And today we have with us the wonderful, gorgeous Michel Scholtz. Wonderful having you here, Michel.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you. Such an honor.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for
on this beautiful day.
Yeah, a stunning, beautiful, gorgeous day in Cape Town, and the birds are out, and hopefully not making too much noise. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about the topic.
For me, after a long journey of working with my own energy, and especially through years of doing deep qigong practice and studying tantra myself, so empowering and liberating to hear how men are opening their hearts and becoming more aware of this topic. When I think years ago, when I first did the tantra course, there were only 2 men on it and 15 women, and men very curious on the subject of, is this possible? You know, especially westernized men, where it's like it was just something they were never brought up to do, and it became very patriarchal, that that's not normal, you know. So for me, it's just so amazing to be able to connect with a man that has opened his heart to this and his mind to exploring this possibility. And it is so empowering for a man, and the benefits of it, which go far deeper than just a sexual thing, you know.
Sure.
And to me, the way men are breaking out of this old patriarchal thinking, that's the norm, and that's the way it's supposed to be, and that a woman, you know, expects that, which is totally. Once a man gets out of that pattern and that thinking, he realizes how much deeper his intimacy with a woman becomes, and when they're making love, how much more pleasurable it is for a woman when it can last longer, and to feel a man that's more connected and not just worrying about the end result, you know. So I find speaking and working in my own practice with more and more men that are open to this energy exchange of learning more about this and the benefits it is to him and then to his partner as well. I think that is such a big breakthrough in the Western world, especially, you know, where before it was taboo to even talk about that. Or if you suggested that to a man, it was like what planet you from? It's not normal, you know. And how do we do this? And it's I've had the experience with a partner that has done this, and for me it was so much more intimate, and to be able to spend more time in that intimate moment with each other and take longer without worrying about that end result, you know. That so many men are conditioned to believe, especially an older generation man, where they're so conditioned that that is the way it's supposed to be, you know. And a lot of the time taking away from the enjoyment of the intimacy between you and your lover and you and your partner, you know. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, enjoy the journey, and it's not just this destination, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's amazing. And yeah, it's really, I've actually had a friend of mine say to me the other day, that that his girlfriend found is that between them, that was similar to what you mentioned, like a real bonding happening, you know. And it sounds so counterintuitive, you're not ejaculating, but the bond becomes stronger if the man doesn't ejaculate and hold it, you know, for long periods.
And for me, I find what has happened, well, the experience I've had, it connects you more, which is tantra, from the heart. So it's connecting you from that heart space before you think of the genital space. So once you connect with that intimacy of the heart, the breath, the eyes, then you can a woman, I believe, can guide a man and help a man to be able to do that, and without that pressure, you know, and that constant pressure of like, I'm a woman and I must make sure a man ejaculates.
Yes,
if he doesn't do that, then I'm a failure.
Yeah, wonderful.
And I think that is something that a woman can help a man with. So it's not just up to the man.
Sure.
If you're with the right partner that works from that space of the heart and not worrying about the end result, and it takes that pressure off, and then you can guide each other.
Oh, wonderful. I often say to the guys that it's so important to share that with your partner, with the women you're connecting with, that you're practicing those things. Of course, there's also some conditioning, as you say, often with women, that if the guy doesn't ejaculate, am I desirable enough? So it's so wonderful to hear that expression from a woman also. So guys, not just me, there's a wonderful woman saying the same.
And also that, as you were saying, that pressure, and I think that's where so many relationships might fail, or the woman ends up not satisfied, or because there's this pressure on a man to have to, that's the end result, and if a woman doesn't get you to do that, then she's a failure and it's a disaster, and it doesn't have to be that way, so I think it's changing the perception for me, from my experience and the people I work with, of the way that we're making love with each other, the way we're getting intimate with each other. It's almost giving us more time, and I think in today's world, where there's so much pressure on self-gratification and this instant gratification, that everything has to be quick. This is now, people are starting to say, no, not everything has to be instant gratification. Yes, there's nothing wrong with a quickie, but to have that experience of spending more intimate time with someone and bonding with them on a different level, so that you take that time. And I think that's where a woman can really guide a man and help a man, because you take that pressure off him to have to perform and to end, to end lovemaking with that final thing. It can carry on, and it can go beyond that and get into a deeper, more spiritual energy of lovemaking. And that's what I found, is my experience is it becomes, it changes the focus. It becomes more of a heart, spirit thing, than just a physical, this is what we must do, and the end result, and it's finished, and it's okay, And then a lot of the time a woman walks away not satisfied, or not as satisfied as she could be, And I think if a man takes that time, because today I think so many women are spending time on improving themselves, and a lot of men aren't. And now men are waking up to say, I've also got to play my part, And that's wonderful for a woman to feel that. To me, it's not just up to the man to be able to do. It's for the woman to be able to provide that safe space where a man feels that he can take his time, and that he can, if let's say he gets close to the edge, he can, not for the woman to carry on to be able to say, we've got time, I'm enjoying this, let's take our time, so that the man doesn't feel that pressure, and I'm not in a man's body, but I can imagine that stage where you're reaching, where a woman says, no, that's not, let me help you here, And I think if you can provide that, it's almost like a dance between the two of you. And I think that helps a man to be able to do that more, rather than let's get this done now, and it's pressure, and if I don't get you to do that, and if a woman doesn't get a man to ejaculate, she immediately thinks, I'm not doing it right, which takes away from the whole deep intimacy where your heart's involved, and your breath, and I think the breath plays a big role as well, So, but for me, it's always been this dance between the man and the woman, so that you guiding each other, and the man doesn't feel that pressure. So it becomes this whole beautiful play.
It's a beautiful dancing interplay.
Exactly.
Yeah, Michelle, I can so relate to that, and I've had experiences, with a lover where it was a new lover, where I was I've been practicing it for quite a while, and I could almost feel her pulling the ejaculation out of me, and I'm relatively good at controlling, but I still believe that if a woman really pulls hard enough, it's almost impossible to hold it. So it's so important to share this with a woman with you're with, because then there's also not this energetic pulling of your seed, because now she's aware that you want to retain it, and then and she's aware that she's subconsciously putting it.
Yeah.
And she wasn't, and we discussed it. It was like, wow. And then the next time we made love, there wasn't that unconscious pull, and it was amazing learning for her also to be made aware of that. So yeah, so important for both to know.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is for the woman to be aware, especially if you're with someone that maybe has been your partner for a long time and they go on this journey now, to be aware of it and to be able to, as you said, to be able to be conscious of it while you're making love, so that you don't put that pressure on the man, so that you know as well. And I think that's where it becomes this interplay between the two of you, which it should always be, but especially in this situation where a woman can become more conscious of that interaction, so before a man ejaculates, she knows, okay, I need to also maybe energetically change my way, you know what I mean?
Yes, wonderful.
So,
wonderful.
And it becomes this giving and receiving. And I think that's what it is for me. It's not just about like, I'm going to just do that, you must just retain. It's about the play between the two of you. And when you're aware of a man doing that, there's a certain energy you can use in your own body to be able to say, all right, let's pull back a bit, so that, so you don't have that pressure. And I think if you can get that, it's, I mean, I've had that experience where it's just mind-blowing. It's amazing.
Oh, lovely.
It's amazing because, you can also, it's almost like you have a breath in between,
Yes,
it's almost like you can imagine doing exercise and you stop and you breathe and sit and you carry on.
Oh, wonderful.
And then it becomes this deeper dynamic where you can go deeper and deeper, and it becomes more of a, almost like you meld into each other. And I think that when a man retains his ejaculation, that it gives you that space to be able to go into a different zone when you make love, not just this platonic, like, let's just get it over with now,
So, that's so beautifully articulated. It's so wonderful you're hearing from a woman, me articulating that from a guy, it's such a good idea, getting a beautiful woman to go, to get their perspective, isn't it? It is so, exactly, that's my experience also, and it's so wonderful to hear that articulated so well. Wow, I really felt that.
Because it is, it's a heart thing, and I think from my experience of working with so many women and men that have sort of reached this plateau in their lovemaking, where it's either one of them, both or one of them is not satisfied anymore, and they're looking for something more, and they're looking for there's this yearning to connect on a deeper level.
Yes.
And I think when a man retains his ejaculation, it almost becomes, without clichéing it, that spiritual connection where you just feel that a man is taking more time, and it allows a woman that space to feel like, wow. And also another thing is, for me, especially if it's been quick lovemaking and a man ejaculates and he goes to sleep and snores, and the woman's still lying there thinking, okay, well, I could have carried on, And with this now, it allows that play where you can have a break and maybe carry on, and you're not just having a man lying there snoring next to you because now he's expended all his energy,
Sure, and you can then intentionally ejaculate, and when you then consciously, intentionally ejaculate, that's so amazing, when you say to the woman, now I want to gift you my seed.
Exactly.
And then my experience is then, if you then go and snore and sleep, there's absolutely no problem.
Exactly.
You adore it, and because they just feel it so much in the heart, and they can understand the energy loss that you have.
Exactly. Exactly. And then he explained to me that he had done this, and he had practiced it, and would I be open to it? And I was. And I found that the first time especially, it was wow, to have that, a man so in touch with his own body and his own energy, and have the time to be able to really get intimate with you without having to rush and get out of his head, because I found that was such a big thing, to get out of his head and really present in the moment from the heart, where we connected from our hearts. Took away that, it's almost like we forgot that we were making love, because it was such a beautiful experience, and it lasted a hell of a lot longer, so you then have more time to connect on a much deeper level. You start making eye contact, you start feeling the heart, you can even synchronize your breath, which then becomes a very deep experience, you know, because I think if you can get into that energy of synchronizing the heart, the breath, the genitals almost become the last focus, because you start getting that energy running through the body, and then it becomes so beautiful when you actually make love and he retains and you can carry on. So you haven't just focused on this area and like, okay, I'm losing my energy, I'm losing my power, and it's all over now. Which is great. That has its time and place as well. But I think from my experience with that particular man was where he was so in touch with his body, and he was so in touch with his own energy. So he had more time to get in touch with mine, you know, and that was very arousing for me. And I think that's where a man who's got this, he's practiced the art of semen retention, he has more time to allow a woman to go deeper and deeper and deeper, you know. And I think that's where for a woman it becomes very, very pleasurable. You know, a man can take time to give you a deeper orgasm, or multiple, or you know, instead of like, he's finished now, okay, well, where does that leave me, you know?
If that isn't motivational, then I don't know what's going to be motivational. And Michel, you were saying to me earlier that that the guy that you practice this with felt also his creative energy increase.
Yes, yes. He was telling me that he had been been practicing the semen retention for quite a while, and he found, because he was in the filming industry, he found that his creativity had expanded, and he accessed a deeper level of his creativity through this. So because of that energy that he wasn't losing all the time, he could access that energy to become more creative and to expand his creativity. And for me, that was very inspiring, that a man can get in touch with that creative, never mind the connection to source or spirit or whatever you want to call it, but that creative energy that expands because you're not using so much energy. So you can direct it for other channels, you know? There's this guy called Napoleon Hill that wrote this book, well, I don't know, quite last 50 years ago, I don't know, maybe even longer, last century. But energy transmutation, sexual energy transmutation, you know, using that energy for anything in your life to create, for money, you know, create riches, create money, be more creative. Okay, so you also have that. And for that artistic expression, and this particular guy said that he found that, especially if he made love quite often and he retained and held back that ejaculation, he used that energy inside of it to expand on his creativity. And and he found that, and I think also that connection to source or spirit or whatever you want to call it becomes deeper because you're not losing your energy. So you're using that energy to access other things, you know. And I think creativity and spirituality are the two things that I mainly have found with men like that, where they have a deeper connection to whatever spiritual path they want to follow, you know. And then when they make love, they feel that it is more of a creative expression, you know. So there's many ways you can direct it.
Exactly. Cool. Anything else that's popping up? Anything else to add?
No, not really. Just to say thank you, Lenerd. Thank you, because I think us women we've been waiting for this a long time, and I think the work you're doing out there to empower men and bring this awareness is so beautiful, and will only improve so many relationships where people are feeling a little bit stuck. And I think it just provides that expansiveness now, where men are feeling more safe to be able to go down this road and to be able to have someone who can guide them and give them that safe space to be able to learn this, you know, even if it doesn't happen immediately. So thank you. I think it's just amazing what you do.
Sure, it's a journey, but the big thing is to start get on the journey. And thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really wonderful having you here. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy with us. Lots of love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Catch you soon. Ciao, ciao.